What's going on, guys? The Crypto Lark here. Today we're going to be talking about high performance blockchain, HPB for short. Now this is being slated as the Chinese EOS. But why can't it just be the high performance blockchain? Is this Highlander? There can only be one blockchain, McLeod. Oh my goodness. Anyway, we're going to be looking at what HPB does after a quick shout out to everyone who has been hitting that like button, and of course everybody who has been subscribing to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you hit that button down below to stay up to date with all of the latest in the crypto space. Furthermore, this is of course not professional financial advice. This is just a dude talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet, guys. Let's get into it. Now, the reason why, of course, we are talking about high-performance blockchain is that it is the community coin of the week. 527 retweets. Wowzers! Although Deep Brain Chain is still very interesting. But we're talking about HPB today, so well done to the community for activating on this one. Now look, there is a lot of new blockchains coming into the space, but really, the space is still small, and big business is starting to look at adopting blockchain technology. And that is important because when we start talking about big businesses, they need massive power. 10, 13 transactions a second, 5 transactions a second is not going to cut it for major financial institutions or for giant marketplaces or anything like this. Now, I would encourage you to come over and have a read through the white paper, but essentially the breakdown of high performance blockchain, we are looking up to millions of transactions per second. That's a lot. Let's see, the proof is in the pudding, right? Low latency, so confirmation will be within seconds. Now EOS is promising the sub-second latency, so that is super fast confirmation time. The guys over at High Performance Blockchain are saying about 1.5 seconds. So how fast do you need your confirmation to be? Half a second or 1.5 seconds? The decision is yours, my friends. Now, they're looking at something called intelligent contracts as well, of course, smart contracts. All the standard stuff you would expect from a blockchain platform, so APIs and software development kits. All that stuff's cool. That's pretty standard. Now, what's interesting here is that they are going to be working with multiple virtual machines. So we can be working with the Ethereum virtual machine or the Neo virtual machine, for example, as well as others. It's all going to be done open source, which is, of course, great. Very interesting thing here, though, and how they're planning on reaching the massive amount of transactions that they want to reach: hardware acceleration. So, essentially, they're going to be using specific computers, something like an ASIC, to run the network. So these will help accelerate the speed of the blockchain. Now that is, of course, very interesting. Questions, of course, must be asked. Who's going to be running this hardware? Will it be the masternodes who will be running this? Do I have to buy this? Am I going to have to pay thousands of dollars to buy this if I am a masternode in the network? What is the long-term viability of such a solution? Does this make too much centralization of the process if only people who can afford to buy potentially very expensive hardware and run that very expensive hardware? This may be a solution really for businesses, and maybe that's what we'll see. Maybe we'll see Baidu and Tencent and UnionPay being the masternodes, essentially, and regular people won't really participate in that way. Possible. We don't have the details on that quite yet. It will be a delegated proof of stake system. So this is not a mineable coin. Delegated proof of stake, of course, like representative democracy, there will be nodes. You vote for them and get a kickback off of voting for those certain nodes by staking, of course, your coins and voting for those people. Now, the token itself, of course, will be used to pay those nodes for the confirmations. So that is, of course, decent utility for the token without a doubt, but there will also be other functions in the ecosystem like reputation and trust factors that will come in. Now, a little farther comparison of this to EOS. They both use parallel processing, but of course we do have HPB using those accelerator chips. So that's a key point of difference here. And of course, both these projects are still under development. EOS, of course, promising that sub-second latency and, of course, the 1 million transactions per second and all this fun stuff as well. Not to mention, of course, the easy-to-use interface and APIs and software development kits and all that fun stuff too. All the stuff you would absolutely expect from these projects. So we'll have to see how this actually comes out. Again, it is not a zero-sums game. There's space for HPB and EOS to exist. If we imagine a future where all businesses, or nearly all businesses, are using blockchain, if high-performance blockchain can just take care of the businesses in China, that's going to be gigantic. EOS can take Europe and North America. Of course, it doesn't have to be a geographical game either, guys. But those are just some thoughts to kick around your head a little bit. Now, the core team here, really, a lot of it comes down to Wang Xiaoming. He is the founder. Now, look, team-wise, there is a lot of great people from this, from Huawei and people from Intel in China, for example. So, good developers. Hard to find any information on them, though. You really, really have to dig around to find any information on the team. So that is something you do need to keep in mind. Now, part of me imagines this is because this is a Chinese-based project. They're not able to access some of these things, or at least not publicly show that they are accessing these things. We have seen, of course, a clampdown on China on VPNs recently. So I'm not surprised they don't have more public profiles that we as English speakers can access. Anyone out there who speaks Chinese and can see those Chinese websites, if you have any extra information to add on the team, please add that down below. But what I did find out, Mr. Ming has written a few books on blockchain. That's not bad. I always like to think that's the guy who literally wrote the book on the topic, or one of the many books, of course, on the topic of blockchain. Here is a picture of him holding his, or a version of that hardware accelerator that we were mentioning earlier. So that's pretty cool. Now, a lot of people as well get very excited about the people he knows and the people he mingles with, we should say. Now look, Neo is an angel investor in this project. If we go back here and have a real quick little look, the consulting team, Nobel Prize winner, nice, executive president at UnionPay Smart. So that is the data end of UnionPay. We're going to talk about them in just a second. And of course, Neo is a angel investor in the project as well. So you can obviously see there's a lot of people who think that this does have a lot of potential. We just talked about Nebulous yesterday, and the CEO, Hitter Zhu, has had contact with the guys from HPB, invited them along to speak at an event. So they all know each other. They're all talking to each other. And it's not to say that Nebulous is officially supporting HPB or anything like that, but they are in contact. They are helping each other. They are mingling, as mentioned. Now, one question that I see come up a lot is that if Neo is invested, and if he's mingling with the people from Neo, and he's going to be using the Neo virtual machine, well, why the heck isn't this an NEP5 token? Why is this an ERC20 Ethereum-based token? Well, I actually found a really good answer to that question. Their ICO was in August. Red Pulse, the first Neo ICO, the first NEP5 standard token released on Neo, was in October. When they had their ICO, the NEP5 token standard didn't exist yet, or at least wasn't finalized if it did exist. So that is why they had their ICO on Ethereum, not on Neo, because it just wasn't ready for it at the time. Something to keep in mind there, if you're wondering what the heck is going on with that. Now, This is the thing that gets people really excited. UnionPay. Now, in China, UnionPay is massive. Absolutely massive. They handle about 80% of the cards in China. 43% of all cards issued globally are UnionPay. That's gigantic. They're working with HPB, particularly the data end of UnionPay is working with HPB. So that is very interesting. If we can see those two come together in a very fruitful relationship, and they do have a relationship already, they are working together, that could be really big for HPB, and of course could open the door for a lot of other potentials for them. Obviously big companies like Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, they have stupid amounts of information that they would probably like to find a way to help speed up, and they don't necessarily want to do it themselves. If they can outsource that to someone like HPB, I'm sure they would, to a large extent, be all about it. So very interesting. Now, if you are thinking, gosh, this all sounds really interesting, I'm going to run out and get me some HPB. Well, keep in mind the roadmap. They do have a long road of development until we actually see the official version of HPB launch. After 2 years of development, we will see the official version December 2019. So that's quite a ways away, guys. So please do keep that in mind, even though they will be working with UnionPay in the run-up to that, probably helping with development and probably running pilots with them. We won't see that full ecosystem for quite a while. Now, if we again go back to our old buddy EOS, because that's what everyone's billing it as, the Chinese EOS, EOS will finish their ICO in June, so they might even have an early mover advantage, even though HPB is a tradable token at the moment. So all things to keep in mind, I suppose. Now, their Twitter is quite quiet. I wanted to mention that out because it is a Chinese project. Most of the excitement is coming from the East. Their outreach to the English community is slowly starting. So still pretty early days for a lot of people with this one. Now, currently the market cap is at $150 million, which in today's terms puts it as a rather low market cap, I suppose. Overall, we have not seen massive price action on it. The highest we've got up has been to around $200 million market cap, and that was even pre-official launch. So there's about 180 million was where it's capped out so far. 22 million circulating supply, rather low on the scale of things. Total supply is 100 million, of course, to come out over time. Now, if you do want to go and grab some, the one place you can find it, BBox or Allcoin. BBox seems to be the primary place where it is being traded now. Nothing against the BBox exchange. I'm sure it's a rather easy process to go over there and grab some if you want. But here's the thing. It's an ERC20 token. You need to store it in your MyEther wallet. Now, currently, we don't have an HPB token in MyEther wallet. If you want to add this, you actually have to do it manually. So I'm going to show you guys real quick how to add a token to your MyEther wallet. So first off, you're going to need some important information. I'll post this link down below in the description if you are going to be going over to BBox and buying some high performance blockchain. So you will need to take the contract address here. I can copy that information. So we got our contract address. You're going to want to go to MyEther wallet and check this one out here. We're going to add a custom token. Make sure it's not in my head there. Add a custom token right there. We're going to put our contract address in there. We're going to input the token symbol, which is HPB. You see here, HPB, token symbol. you guys can see that, and decimals 18 decimals 18. And we're going to go ahead and save that. So now I've got the HPB here. Now I don't have any in my wallet at the moment, but if I did add it, it would show up. So you do have to add that manually, guys. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about high performance blockchain. Do you think there's too much risk because it's a Chinese-based project and China's all kinds of FUD on blockchain right now? Do you think that there's too much centralization with it? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, guys. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.